And I'll still be voting for Joe Biden. And you should still vote for Joe Biden too. And the reason why is because Donald Trump, is an insane, narcissistic sociopath. Donald Trump wants to take people's rights away. Trump and the rest of the conservatives want to force society back into the 1940s. As bad as things are, it will be much worse with Donald Trump. Everyone seems to forget during Trump's presidency there were riots in every major city in America. Millions of businesses shut down, many permanently, during Trump's COVID response. Trump will give away trillions of dollars to the wealthy, and they'll drop their crumbs down on the rest of us and call it a good economy when people have a little extra money for junk food and slightly cheaper gas prices so people can drive around aimlessly to nowhere. Trump and the conservatives around him also want to force the LGBTQ back into the closet. They want to punish companies for simply hiring LGBTQ people. Look at the people Trump surrounds himself with. Yeah, Biden, he might be old and he might be a little slow, but so what? He is surrounded by hundreds of officials who have fought for a woman's right to choose. They fought for LGBTQ rights. They fought for equal rights for every human being, no matter where you're from. Another reason why you shouldn't vote for Donald Trump is because one reason is he says he wants to deport every illegal person who's inside of the United States. The estimated amount of so-called illegal people in America is somewhere between 20 to 25 million. That's an estimate. So to all the Republicans out there, all the conservatives out there, what do you really think the day after looks like for America after 20 million people who live here have been deported? Just picture that in your mind for a second if you can. Donald Trump gets elected, he gets into office. One of his first policy issues, one of the first things on Donald Trump's agenda is to deport 20 to 25 million people. And let's say somehow he actually does that. He deports 25 million people who live here in the United States. What does America look like the day after 25 million people who live here have been deported? Do you have any idea how much extremism that's going to cause in America? Do you have any idea how much hatred that is going to cause in America when 25 million people who have houses here and who have jobs and who have family and friends and kids get deported and shipped to another country? You live in a fantasy land if you don't see how much hatred and how much violence that is going to cause in America. Like, come on, really. People need to wake up. Like, really, what do you think really is going to happen after Donald Trump deports 25 million people the day after? What, do you think you're just going to wake up and it's just going to be really nice and peaceful and it's just going to be a quiet country and nobody's going to complain and everyone's just going to take it? Really? Is that what you think? And then we see the news from the right-wing Supreme Court today, they ruled that Donald Trump is immune, pretty much immune from being convicted of crimes in a official capacity. I guess any crimes he commits while in office, he is immune. So, figuratively speaking, if Trump gets elected and there's a political opponent, he could order the Navy SEAL Team 6 to assassinate his political opponent, and he can't be charged for it because he's president. He already talks about deporting upwards of 20 to 25 million people. You know who else talked like that? Adolf Hitler and every other dictator throughout history. Right before they committed mass genocide, there is always talk of mass deportations first. That is what Donald Trump, Republicans, and all of these conservatives are setting America up for. They are laying the groundwork to begin mass extermination and mass genocide against whichever group of people they want to blame their problems on. But the truth is that conservatives, they're their own worst enemy. They create their own problems. You always hear conservatives and these right-wingers always complaining about immigration. Oh, immigration, there's a lot of immigrants. They're changing the culture. They're changing the town. But you know what? A lot of these places that complain about immigration and complain about illegal immigration, they would not have such high numbers of immigrants coming to these countries if they didn't set the conditions that require their countries to need immigration. World War I, World War II, tens of millions of people died throughout Europe. And because tens of millions died over conservative values, over borders, over culture, they lost many men and their birth rates plummeted. And because they have such a low birth rate, they need immigration. They needed immigrants to come and work the jobs that they didn't have enough men to do. Working in the fields, picking vegetables, working in the factories, working low wage and low skilled jobs. They created their own conditions that needed immigrants. And now they complain about it. And now they're doing the exact same thing again. Look at Russia and look at Ukraine. This war that is going on has been going on for 2 years now. I think the latest estimate is that 500,000 have been KIA or taken out of combat, either through serious wounds or have been killed. 500,000 people on both sides altogether between Ukraine and Russia. That's going to create a shortage in both of these countries, in Ukraine and Russia, and they are going to require immigrants. They are going to need immigrants to make up for the hundreds of thousands that are dying over there, to fill their place in society. And it's already happening. You're seeing already, there's lots of reports of Africans being hired by the Russian army. There's African migrant workers arriving in Russia. Give it 10, 20 years, Russia is going to be diverse like America, and they're going to be complaining like the conservatives and right-wingers here in America about immigration, about you set the conditions to make immigration possible. You're the reason there is immigration into your country, into our country. Because of your greed, you can never have enough. You always need more and more and more and more power. And in your quest for more power, you lose all of your power. It happens every time. It's not going to end because Donald Trump comes along and says he's going to deport 20 to 25 million people. They are setting America up for, they're laying the groundwork for genocide. They are laying the groundwork for mass extermination. Some people, they'll hear that and they don't think deep enough, so they'll call me crazy. But there are some out there that they know that, and just me saying that, it makes them happy inside, because a lot of these people, a lot of these conservatives, a lot of these Republicans, that is what they want. They want a new Adolf Hitler. I mean, you go to conservative forums, say on Rumble, and other sites that I probably shouldn't mention, but you go to these conservative sites where they are not, where comments aren't blocked, where there's no censorship, and where they speak freely. You go to these places where conservatives congregate, and that's a common theme that you'll see and that you'll hear from there, that you'll hear from them constantly. You'll always hear from them. They'll say the opinion that we fought the wrong enemy during World War II. A lot of them, they'll smile and they'll say, oh, I just want Trump because he's going to lower gas prices. That's the safe answer that they give. A lot of people, they'll know someone who's a Republican, and that person will seem completely normal. And they'll say things like, oh, I'm just going to vote for Donald Trump because he's going to lower gas prices. Or, oh, I'm just going to vote for Donald Trump because he's going to tackle crime. A lot of them, they know why they are actually voting for Donald Trump. A lot of them are looking for a new Adolf Hitler, or someone who will lay the groundwork for a new Adolf Hitler to arrive. You have to look at the big picture. You have to look at everything. Look at the policies. Look at the people who Donald Trump surrounds himself with. It's beyond obvious that he is not a good person. Yeah, Joe Biden, he might be slow. He might mumble here and there. He might get confused. But Joe Biden, he's not an evil person. He is not laying the groundwork for evil to take over America. Donald Trump is. A lot of people know that too. A lot of people, they want that evil to come here. A lot of people, they want that new Adolf Hitler. A lot of people, they do want mass extermination and genocide. They want that. Many of them, millions of them, actually want that. It isn't just Steve Bannon or David Duke or the Charlottesville guys who walked around with the tiki torches chanting all these racist chants. It isn't just a pocket of 100 people here and 100 over there. No, it's millions of them. They want a new Adolf Hitler. Because conservatism, it has completely warped their minds. They're they're not there completely. They are not fully individuals. They don't really have an individual identity. What they have is they belong to a group. They are part of a collective. A racial collective based on race, or based on religion, or based on traditions or culture. That is how they identify themselves. They don't see themselves as individuals. They see themselves as belonging, being part of a culture that is on the way out, frankly speaking. And that's the old world order, conservatives, nationalism, racial identity, religion, culture, traditions. That's the old world. That's how they control the people. Everyone has to belong to a certain tradition or certain culture or certain religion. You're not you. You're your race first. You're not you. You're your culture first. You're not yourself, you. You're an American or a Russian. That's how they control us. That's how they divide us. That's how they get us to fight against each other. And that's how they hold on to power worldwide. And I say worldwide because it really is worldwide. Conservatives, they pretty much control the majority of the countries on earth. An example is in Africa. A lot of people, when they hear conservative, they automatically think I'm just talking about Trump, I'm talking about Vladimir Putin, that I'm just talking about these Western conservative leaders. No, conservatism, it's all over. It's all over the world.